Hello everyone, today I'm going to do a video on how to set your side springs. Now, when you're setting your side springs, the rule of thumb is to set the side springs so that they're just touching the lower plate here, okay? Now, there are many different ways of setting your side springs. You can crouch down and get down eye level and set the springs like so. I used to do that and it worked, but it was just really painstaking and, my back started to hurt, just kind of like crouching over all the time, getting the side springs set. But I've come up with a kind of a unique idea to set the side springs without actually having to do any of that. You don't have to squint and try to look really closely to make sure everything's a-okay. I know there's probably guys that do this already, but I just thought I would show you guys a little tutorial on how I do it now. So what I do is I take the two screws that would mount this cross brace here. And so now this is moving freely up and down, okay? Now, what I do now is I go ahead and I adjust the spring retainer heights and just adjust it depending on how much of a distance there is. I'll show you in a second here. What I do is I adjust it and I will just go tap, tap, tap. So there's some movement so I can see if I need to make any adjustment. Over here, what's this like? There's still a bit of movement there. Let's adjust this a bit more. And just do a tap. There's still movement there. How's that? That's just a little bit on that one side here. We'll just accordingly. All right, we'll just accordingly. All right. Still a little bit of movement there. Okay. Okay. Let's check now. Just a little bit. That's not too bad on that one side. Might just move it a bit, a smidge here. And just tap in the center. Usually you can use a bigger wrench if you want. You can use a wrench like this. That's not too bad. And what you could do is screw it down a little bit more. Say that you might have gone too far. Let's screw it down a little bit more. All right. Yeah, it's not too bad there. And you can go out around this point here at the edge and just kind of get a visual of the spring and see what it's doing. There's a bit of a spring action right when I do that, so I might just back it off just a hair. All right, I'll just reset everything there and test there. Just a little bit of a reaction there. You don't have to get too crazy with it, but that's not bad at all. What about this side here? Still a little bit of a spring on that side there. All right, let's just maybe settle that down. Test that side out there. I'm happy with that. Because now I know that the springs are, they're just touching the lower pod plate. I didn't have to squat down. I didn't have to do any of that, trying to like focus on whether or not the spring is touching. I'm pretty happy with how that is coming along. And so what I can do now is undo these, I call them guides. They're just set screws, long set screws. Pop those out. And there you go. And then simply go ahead and bolt on your plate again. And you are good to go. So that's that. All right, so there you go. Now, one thing that's important, you want to take the motor out, and you could just rest it at the front here, which gives a bit of weight on the main chassis plate, so everything's resting flat. And not only that, just try to keep the wheels off the board. while you're doing this. Obviously, you want to do this on a flat surface, and you want to make sure that there's no screws sticking out underneath the chassis. You want to make sure everything's nice and flat before you do any of this. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye.